The Ojibwa and Sioux were the first to canoe the lakes and rivers of northwestern Ontario. Today, visitors travel the same way, along ancient water routes through virgin pine forest, seeing the wilderness as the first inhabitants might have seen it thousands of years ago. Travelers come to feel the solitude and the beauty of the place, but also to meet the challenges there and perhaps discover something along the way. One of the most challenging parts of a wilderness canoe trip is the portage. It's the part of the trip where the travelers must bring themselves, their gear, and the canoes over rough trails connecting the lakes and rivers. Now, this is often thought to be the domain of the rugged, but access to the wilderness is available to those who accept the challenge, be they able-bodied or disabled.
Hang on, kid.
Yeah.
Very.
You okay?
Yeah.
Since 1978, a Minnesota nonprofit organization called Wilderness Inquiry 2 has conducted many trips for integrated groups of physically disabled and able-bodied people. Group members learn new skills and face new challenges, enjoying the companionship and community of an outdoor adventure.
Good job, Alison. It didn't take you to do that.
A physical disability will often limit the risks people will take on their own. Alison Hill does have functional limits, but as a member of this group, she's done very well within those limits, and in some cases, has actually overcome them.
Good.
At the beginning of each trip, everyone learns some basics about canoeing. Here, Greg Lace, co-director of Wilderness Inquiry 2, gives some paddling instruction.
You can do what's called a C stroke, where you kind of fan your paddle out like this, and you draw a big C in the water. Paddling like this doesn't work. You miss a lot of water that way. Just put your blade in the water. You should have a paddle that fits so you can do that comfortably. And pull it out like this. Okay, draw right around on a pivot.
On this 10-day trip, the routes and activities will be similar to those any group of travelers would plan. The group will canoe dozens of miles along lakes and forests populated by moose, black bear, bald eagle, and loon, stopping along the way to swim, fish, hike, even sail. Participants on this trip are able-bodied and disabled from many different backgrounds and of all different ages. Among those on this trip are 2 with cerebral palsy, a blind person, 1 who uses a wheelchair, 3 able-bodied participants, and 2 leaders.
Go as far as you can go. And if you get stuck, don't crash.
Yeah.
Part of my own interest in working with people with physical disabilities comes from the fact that when I was born, I had a condition called Poland syndrome, where apparently some cells didn't develop when I was a fetus, and I'm missing a few muscles in my back. My left arm is smaller and less developed. My left hand is a little bit smaller than my right hand, and I'm missing a knuckle on this finger here, which isn't a serious physical disability, but it did make me sensitive to being physically different.
It's like myself, for example, when I first became involved with these trips. In fact, when I and Greg first joined to do a pilot trip in August of 1977, I don't recall that I had ever even talked to somebody in a wheelchair before. And I arrived with my backpack on at the place where we were to leave from, and for the first time in my life, I think, I talked to I was talking to a woman in a wheelchair, someone my age, or roughly my age. I remembered feeling a great sense of pity, that somebody who otherwise looked very healthy and talented and alive and alert was destined to spend the rest of her life in a chair. And I know I had a patronizing attitude, but I also know that within just a few short days, that was gone.
Whenever possible, participants are encouraged to do things on their own. Often they'll combine efforts to do one chore, making the most of each one's abilities.
Now, can we get yours in there?
Right.
Up a little more, boys. Okay.
Yes.
Can you find the corner of the tent nearest you?
Yeah.
And put that spike on the bottom. You can lift it up a little bit.
Arthur Farrelly is an Irishman who flew in from Dublin, Ireland to be part of this trip. He has cerebral palsy, which affects neither his intelligence nor his determination, but does make it difficult for him to control his movements and speech.
All right, now Alison's turn.
For Alison Hill, this trip was an opportunity she hadn't had in 9 years, since a car accident paralyzed her from the waist down.
You're gonna have the hardest one because you have all the pressure you gotta pull.
Like Arthur, Ted Cowardin also has cerebral palsy, but since his capabilities are different from Arthur's, they can together do what might have been difficult alone.
Oh, what this? No. This minute. Go over and get this right here.
Yeah. It's pretty tight. All my life, I never trusted anybody. I was so used to doing things, for me, make sure it got done, in my own time, in my own way. Then, when I became disabled, everything changed, and I couldn't trust that things are going to get done the way they should get done. As far as getting help, it's a give and take situation where people can offer help, and that's nurturing, that's okay. But if they offer too much help, then that becomes being overprotective, and they become responsible for me instead of me being responsible for my own needs and for myself. Oh my God. You want to lay like that?
One of the greater lessons of this type of experience is learning to draw the fine line between help that's needed and help that's inappropriate. On wilderness inquiry trips, group members are required to do as much as they can on their own, and help is given only when necessary. The difficult physical demands that the wilderness imposes make cooperation necessary for disabled and able-bodied alike. This encourages mutual understanding and respect among group members.
Okay.
Were you cold? Let's get set here first. Let me get my foot out of the tent. Okay. All set?
Good man. Kid.
Some adaptive equipment is used on wilderness inquiry trips, although its use is kept to a minimum. Usually the simpler the better. Here, Ted Cowardin has rigged up a table to help Arthur eat. He's used basic, available materials, Alison's back support, and a piece of rope.
Thank you very much. Now, Bilal, have a cup of cocoa, please.
There, huh? Whoop. Got it?
Right.
All right.
That's lovely.
I'm 59 years old this summer, and I don't feel like it. I feel and can honestly say that I can work and play whatever as well as I did in my 20s. I'm retired, but I don't look at it as the end of an era or it's going to, from here on in, go downhill. I just feel it's going to go on forever. You know, I can't find anybody that likes the things I do and wants to do the things I do in my age group, so consequently I end up with a younger group and do more with younger folks.
Everyone is encouraged to apply to the program, but participants are screened to make sure their health needs can be met in the wilderness. Once on the trip, there are no volunteers. Everyone is treated equally. Although the able-bodied do a good part of the physical work, the disabled bring individual talents to the trip, like Alison, who has a flair for cooking.
The beauty of doing trips with people with a variety of ability levels are the interdependencies that develop. And the importance of that is that so many of us strive to become independent, to fend for ourselves and to stand alone. And we reach that point, and I think we find we're in a very one-dimensional world.
Over the years, we found that a person's level of physical ability isn't really that important. What really matters is their desire to go on a wilderness trip and to take part in activities such as this.
Wilderness Inquiry 2 is an alternative for the disabled who are seeking outdoor experiences more rigorous than those provided by residential camps. Trip leaders encourage the participants to approach unfamiliar situations with resourcefulness and determination. For Arthur, who normally uses a wheelchair, some activities like this portage might produce more frustration than enjoyment. But the pride in having attempted something he may not have thought possible can offset the discomfort.
The idea behind this tip test is to find out just exactly how a canoe will float and support you in the event that you tip over and wipe out in the middle of the lake. What you want to do is we'll go out there and roll out of the canoe, get away from the canoe for a little while to float around in your life jacket and just see how that feels. And then we'll crawl back into the canoe and sit on the floor right down on the bottom of the canoe, and that way the canoe will rise up underneath you and support you. And you can either paddle in with your hands or a paddle after that. Hey, the water feels warm, my darling.
Since the wilderness is unfamiliar to many, it's sometimes more frightening. The tip test is one of the activities which shows how to cope with the unexpected when it appears.
Arthur, you're floating free?
Oh my goodness. Doesn't that feel good?
Arthur,
Get on that side, darling. I'll get up.
okay, Arthur.
Arthur!
Come on back here, Arthur.
Come up. No! Let's move this barge.
Go float inside. Now sit on the floor, folks.
Got your paddle?
You gotta sit right on the floor.
Well, hold it down to get Arthur in. Hold it down. Okay.
Okay.
No, that feels good.
Scuttle in there now.
I'm glad I did that.
After
Can you stand?
5 seconds, all your nerve endings go nuts.
It really isn't bad at all, even in the wind.
You want to carry him? Let go of that paddle.
Good lads, you should try it.
Okay, hold for a second, Mike. Dad, just float for a second.
Are we done floating?
You roll your butt over the edge.
their hands backwards.
Can I go in?
Oh, stormy, oh, I love the cold. Hey, this isn't so bad.
Alison.
Yeah, I'll bet you're dry.
Here, can you lift your foot, Arthur? There. Okay, now the other one.
Button her up good. There you go. Can you snap it?
Right.
Now, can you hang on to him, Paul? I'll get his where's your shorts?
With my trousers.
Have you got some underwear you want to put on?
Yeah.
They're in there. Hang on to him.
Mike Parkhurst was burned several years ago. Having had numerous skin transplants, he's extremely sensitive to the heat and cold. Mike is wrapped in an insulating space blanket to help him stay warm after being dunked in the chilly lake water.
No better?
Yeah.
Like the spaceman.
Space potato.
Space potato? Wait a minute here. Hey.
I was involved in a gas fire explosion December 2nd of 1980. I had woken up in the middle of the night and the gas had been on all night, and I didn't smell it. I was very disoriented. I lit a cigarette and there was a flash explosion. I've found that in getting out back into the public, in the last year or so, the more that I've come to accept myself and my condition, the easier it is for other people to accept me. Do I think being a burn victim is disabling? I'm not really, I don't feel very disabled by it myself. It does present problems when you're going out into the public because everybody stares at you a lot, get a lot of strange questions, but if somebody seems halfway intelligent, I'll take the time to sit down and explain it to them. I live in Minneapolis, and just sitting around the city, you know, you get pretty used to everyday boring city life, and this trip has been everything but boring.
During every trip, when 1 or 2 days are set aside just for fun, the most popular pastime is sailing. Canoes are lashed together with cross braces and they form a sailing hull. The kitchen tarp is used as a sail, and a new craft is ready for launching.
Catching the wind now. All right, coming about.
Ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, I've managed pretty well on that trip. It's beautiful country up here, and I like camping. Portage trails get to be kind of tough, and I have to walk through muddy water and over rocks and over and around fallen trees, and I tend to lose my balance, but I take 2 paddles so I can stabilize myself. When I was first able to walk, I was about maybe 3-4 years old. I could take 2 steps and I'd fall down.
You're doing it.
Good.
Most people are surprised to discover how much their bodies are capable of. Those who push their own wheelchairs, for example, generally have plenty of upper body strength, and with a few adaptations, they can participate in something as strenuous as rock climbing.
You can do it. You're almost there.
Pull, Arthur, pull.
For old Ireland.
Come on. Ready? All right, Arthur.
The hill climb, like the canoe tip test, develops a few new skills and helps group members build confidence. Each of the participants climbs up the steep grade under his own power to enjoy the view from the plateau at the top.
It's likely that most of this forest right here has never been cut for reasons pertaining to the difficulty of hauling logs out of here. In fact, right around the bay over there through the virgin forest is where we came from. You can see the ridge that we came over on the Portage Trail, where we crossed a height of land and came back down into this lake. Okay, we're gonna pull it up right away. Oh, not bad. One.
Head rock is a game everyone can play. The object is to knock over the little pine cone by swinging a rock suspended by a rope from a tree branch.
This will be the one. Oh!
Perfect.
First one. Not bad. You got it. First try.
It's gotta be lucky.
Right away. Right away.
Arthur.
Oh, you're still in the
Whoa.
go. Oh, it's going bananas.
No, you gotta let her down a little bit.
Easy. Oh, there. Oh, up.
Up.
Up. Okay, being the thing. Yes. Great. Well, that counts. That's all you have to do.
This way? Not very big. See how tall it is? It's only just. Well, oh, we know what it is. It's a
Yeah, feel like
branch. Go carefully with your feet. What do you feel?
Trust games are played to sensitize people to the disabilities of others by having them simulate those conditions.
I'm visually impaired, and technically I'm considered legally blind, and I've been that way since I was born. And this has been a really good trip for me. It's great to be up here where it's just such beautiful country, and the other half of what makes a really good trip is the people, and we've had a really neat group. It's neat how you come together as strangers, and then by the end, you know, you leave having developed friendships and things, and we've worked together all week. And it's a neat experience to work with such a group of people with different disabilities and abilities, and you know, working to adapt things and get something done. So it's been a really good trip for me. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to everybody.
Everyone learned a little about the inadequacy of labels like able-bodied and disabled. Having lived so closely and shared so much, physical differences are no longer a barrier, and each seems to be able to accept each other as an equal partner in the group. The group members will not soon forget how they traveled to the wilderness together. They've discovered strengths they never knew they had, been close to people they never thought they'd know, and have developed a respect for the wilderness and its lessons.
Trusting people in this situation will make it easier to trust people when I get home. I think this is a great program. I think all disabled people should come on it. It has so much to offer. It's such an experience.
I think it's a good program for somebody like myself who's on a fixed income. I'm on Social Security, and $105 for a 10-day trip is quite affordable.
I hope to continue various trips like this throughout my life. It's a lifetime hobby for me, or lifetime career even, depending upon what I do.
In the last week, I have enjoyed my trip to the wilderness
because it has shown me great experiences that I, as a physically disabled person, can undertake. It has given my life a broader sense of meaning, in the sense that I can go home to Ireland and put what I've learned over this past week into practice.
After a week of wilderness travel, Arthur has enough confidence in his abilities to cross a portage trail unassisted. Herein lies one of the most valuable rewards of a wilderness canoe trip: the ability to recognize and trust each individual's own strengths and resources, and the discovery that most limits are truly self-imposed.
In the sense that I can go home to Ireland and put what I've learned over this past week into practice.
Trusting people in this situation will make it easier to trust people when I get home. I mean, we need help to go on a trip like this, and it's here, it's offered. I think this is a great program. I think all disabled people should come on it. It has so much to offer, it's such an experience.
I think it's a good program for somebody like myself who's on a fixed income. I'm on Social Security, and $105 for a 10-day trip is quite affordable.
I hope to continue various trips like this throughout my life. It's a lifetime hobby for me, or lifetime career even, depending upon what I do.
It's like myself, for example, when I first became involved with these trips. In fact, when I and Greg first joined to do a pilot trip in August of 1977, I don't recall that I had ever even talked to somebody in a wheelchair before. And I arrived with my backpack on at the place where we were to leave from, and for the first time in my life, I think, I was talking to a woman in a wheelchair, someone my age, or roughly my age. I remembered feeling a great sense of pity. That somebody who otherwise looked very healthy and talented and alive and alert was destined to spend the rest of her life in a chair. And I know I had a patronizing attitude, but I also know that within just a few short days, that was gone. Count of three, we'll say thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, everybody.
Come on, let go. Let go.
Circle the unbroken light, but let home awaiting in the sky, in the sky. Thanks, everybody.
Come on, let go.